Welcome in the second video of this playlist, in which we will speak about the connection and the inspiration from the Soulsborne universe from the H.P. Lovecraft work. In this video we will speak about the relationship between Anor Londo, Drangleic and Ringed City as great cities, fabulous cities of the trilogy of Dark Souls, with Kadath, the city of the Dream Quest of the unknown Kadath, from the tale of H.P. Lovecraft. Here we have some images that show these several cities, and so we find Dark Souls with Anor Londo, Dark Souls 2 with Drangleic, and Dark Souls 3 with the Ringed City. In the end, we see the Dream Quest of the unknown Kadath with the Kadath city by H.P. Lovecraft. And we can immediately do some connection between Anor Londo and the Ringed City with Kadath, from the moment that in both these cases the main character reached the city through the help of Batwing's demons. And in the case of Kadath, it's possible to reach it through the Night Guns, as we speak in the previous video. Another connection we can find on the other side with Dark Souls 2 is that the other don't have is a mention of the dreamland, of the dream world. Indeed, in the beginning of the prologue of the game, we can hear the woman speaking something like, "Perhaps you have seen it, maybe in a dream," referring to Drangleic. And indeed, in the beginning of the story by H.P. Lovecraft, we find Carter, the main character, that have seen the city of Kadath in his dreams, and then he decided to go to visit it, still traveling within his own dream, with the same perseverance that we find in the hero in the prologue of Dark Souls 2, that can be considered like an alter ego of this character, that anyway is himself an alter ego of H.P. Lovecraft in his story. So these three cities, as we mentioned in the previous video, have some specific events that connect all of them in the way the story develops. We can see here, even though the animation was not as I planned it, we can see that in each city there is a specific character that hosts that welcome somehow the protagonist of the story, and in each of them prepare some kind of trick or illusion to the main character. So let's start with the work of H.P. Lovecraft, in which once the Night Guns arrive to Kadath, they disappear, and the main character finds himself already inside one of the buildings of the city, where all the lights are turned off, and he finds a priest that then is revealed to be Nyarlathotep, one of the outer gods created by H.P. Lovecraft. So Nyarlathotep explains him how all the gods of the earth that used to live in this city have gone away. On the other side, we find in Anor Londo the main character arrives to the city of gods, and he finds out that all the gods are gone away, and we find only one god that in this case is not a higher level than the normal gods that usually live there, but it's one of them, that tell to the main character that all the gods don't tell to the other character, but anyway, it's the only god that is left, that while all the other gods have gone away. In Drangleic, we don't have any specific flying being that bring us there, so we cannot do that kind of connection here. And even in the Ringed City, as in Anor Londo, we have some Batwing's demons that transport us there. And in this case, yes, even here we find that this is the city where not the gods but the kings of whatever can be the difference, the kings of the undeads used to live, and where all the undeads are simply, without trying to speculate too much. Now let's move to the part of the characters in which we can find some common aspect. All of them are either woman or connected somehow to the moon. We can speak in other videos about the connection of Nyarlathotep to the symbolism of the moon. We have a clear symbolism of Gwyndolin with the moon. She's called the Black Sun. Maybe a connection with the eclipse idea in general. Then we have Nashandra, that is generally connected with the darkness and is a woman. And then we have Philanor, that is supposed to be an unlegitimate daughter of, not legit, I don't know how to say, a daughter of Gwyn. In particular, this connection is stronger in the first work of it, in one of the first works of Miyazaki, with the work of H.P. Lovecraft. Indeed, apart the connection with the moon, we find that both these characters have, in the first case, Nyarlathotep a silken mask, while Gwyndolin a metal mask, still yellow anyway, and the skin of Nyarlathotep is described as pale skin, and we find the same in Gwyndolin, which has a pale skin. Gwyndolin, even though it seems like a woman, this seems to be due to his being close to the symbolism of the moon, even though it is a man or a guy. At the end, we can find that all these creatures somehow settle a trick, a plan, or some kind of illusion to the main character. In the case of Nyarlathotep, he tried to convince the Carter that he wants to help him to bring the gods back to the city. If I didn't mention this before, the city were gone away, and Nyarlathotep want them to come back. So tell him to go over one of his flying animal of Nyarlathotep and accomplish the mission. But Carter, in the last moment, discover that this is just a plan of Nyarlathotep to torture him and to make him die in the outer space. And at the end, he succeed. He managed to save himself and escape from this trick. Gwyndolin doesn't show himself in the city of Anor Londo, but stay hidden, and it manifests himself only when the chosen one do something that is not meant to do. And the city, from enlightened by a sun, appear to be dark, and the light of the sun seems to be just an illusion prepared by Gwyndolin. So if the player find out this kind of illusion, he discovers how the city is not inhabited anymore by the gods, but the gods have left the city, right as in the Kadath example. In the case of Queen Nashandra, we reach Drangleic, that is already without light in the dark of the night, and we find this woman that is the queen of the rain. But even in this case, we have an abandoned castle, and the only creature that we find here is this woman that eventually, spoiler alert, seems to be just a shard of the obscurity of Manus in the first game. So even in this case, her human shape is just an illusion displayed to the chosen one. Finally, in the third game of Dark Souls, we find the Ashen One, which once meeting Filanor and touching the egg that she hosts and waking her up, we don't know which of the two action triggered the changing of status of the environment. Um, find out that the city is actually destroyed, or better, we don't know if the city is just an illusion maintained by Filianor, or if Filianor has managed to freeze the time till that moment, thanks to her sleeping. Anyway, when if we want to call it an illusion, when Filianor wake up because of the action of the Asian one, Asian one, we find out that the city is actually destroyed from the time, and it has become a desert. And so even in this case, we have an abandoned city that it was not populated as we expected it should have been, and we find this illusion. So we find these four characters that all together are able to create illusions or to disguise and to trick the main character of our story. Once he reach a city that once was flourish, but that in the moment of the arrival of the era is in corruption and decadent. So this was for this video, and in the next episode we will speak about New Londo, Old Yarnam, and the color out of space, and the connection that I found from my point of view in terms of inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft for the work of Hidetaka Miyazaki. Bye bye.